Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Keeneland Racecourse here on Friday. It is the 11th of April, 2025. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Keeneland, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean around the world. Let's look at the stakes action. Races 7 and 9 from Keeneland. Seventh race, it is the FanDuel Limestone Stakes. It's going for a purse of $300,000. Races for three-year-old fillies here. We have a field of 16 horses entered, 13 through 16 RAEs. A dozen will head to the turf course. The distance of ground of 1,100 meters or 5.5 furlongs on the turf course. Going to take the four horse Habitats as the top selection. We're going to go 4-6-9-5 in the superfecta. 4-6-9-5 super, top selection, four horse Abenot. This three-year-old filly, but not this time. Mark Hasse trains. Dylan Davis gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently the 1st November at Del Mar, a mile on the Brews Cup Juvenile Fillies turf, and she finished 14th by 10 3/4 lengths that day. Had a very wide trip, was wide throughout, and just wasn't very comfortable. I think refreshing here off the bench to a sprinting trip, which this horse is bred for through and through. I think back in trip, this horse could find the winner's circle a lot easier than she did at Del Mar back in the fall. Trained two back here in New York at Aqueduct. Six furlongs in the Great Through Matron, where she won by a neck that day. She had a bit of a wide trip that day, but she sat back early. She closed up well. She got there beating Savetta Home was the next start winner. This horse ran her heart out that day. I thought that was a very good run. And then the untappable at Kentucky Downs over the 6.5 on the quirky turf course, finishing third by 1/4 lengths that day. Again, she was very wide, but she got down the race course well. Both her victors have come over sprinting trips. She broke her main special at Saratoga in 5.5 back in July by a half length. Her debut, even on Aqueduct, going six back in June, wasn't bad at all on the turf course. Coming here, training well, Gulfstream or Palmettos, I think she could win. I think the six horse, she's so spicy for Jose D'Angelo and Iraq win also. In his turf debut last time out, going 5.75 at Gulfstream, she won going away by 2.25 lengths. She broke on top like a quarter horse, and nobody was catching her. Prior to that, a decent place in the dirt in the Mockingbird, and and had a decent third in the Ferns Creek. I do think 5.5 is a really good distance for this horse. She's training incredibly well down the South Florida off Palmettos on the turf and dirt. A very good 3 furlong workout last week in 34 and 2. I think this horse is rearing to go. Watch out for her to steal it on the front end. But to recap my selection for the seventh now from Keeneland, it is the Limestone. Going to take the four horse Abatot. Give kudos to the five horse She's So Spicy. Yeah, she's so spicy, or she is spicy. I have no idea. I can't speak. 4-6-9-5 super, 4-6 in the multi race. Probably one of my favorite races. This is my favorite race. I shouldn't say one of my favorite. It is my favorite race of the year from Keeneland. One of my favorite races of the year in general. This ninth race from Keeneland. It is the Maker's Mark Mile. It's grade one event going for a $650,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field of 9 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the turf course. This is one of my favorite races because it's the first big race back, I think, of the year for these turf milers that, getting to the road to the Breeders' Cup Mile, which is always a good race. But this is always the first race back. And it's just, you could some years you could find a price in this one, and some years you don't. Like this year, unfortunately, I don't think you are. But, it's just a good race because all these horses returning, and it's a good, preview of what's to come, as this division, picks up. Some horses might go to a little bit longer trip, some horses might cut back, some horses might stay in the trip, but, I've had a lot of fun handicapping this race. And a lot of good horses have won it in the past also. I'm going to go with the six horse Carl Spackler as a top selection. We're going to go 6-3-1-8 in the superfecta. 6-3-1-8 super, top selection six horse, Carl Spackler. This 5-year-old horse by Lupe de Vega. Chad Brown trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently, the Brews Cup Mile at Del Mar, a mile on the 2nd of November, and he just had a wide trip. He finished 6 by 2.25 lengths. He was wide, and he just couldn't get there. More than looks, and Johannes and Nodal's speech really freaked that day. I had more than looks that day on top. It was my best bet of the Brews Cup. He ran terrifically. This horse just kind of stalked and just weakened out of it, couldn't keep up late. Prior to that, the Keeneland Turf Mile, he were over the mile back in the fall. He won by a length that day from wide trip on the front end all throughout. 102 buyer. That was a very good run. And then 106 buyer for his victor in the 4-star Dave at Saratoga, a mile on the 11th of August, winning by 3 1/4 lengths from a tracking tree, beating um the bridesmaids him all summer. More than looks home, more than looks turned the tables in the Brews Cup for him after that. But this horse, he freaked that day. Even before then, the Kelso over the mile on the inner at Saratoga, winning by a half a length with 100 buyer. He really freaked. His last 4 buyers have been very good triple digit buyers. His only subpar race last year was basically, the Brews Cup was Poker Stakes Saratoga over the mile on the inner during the Belmont Stakes meeting. He finished fifth by 2 1/4 lengths that day, where he just never got into it. But he won off the bench in the opening verse last year, first time older horses. Back here to start off the 5-year-old campaign training well. I think he could find a piece of it. The 3-year Shikari for Grand Motion's a horse I want to keep an eye on also for Johnny V and Grand Motion. He won the Secretariat last summer at uh at Colonial quite nice over the mile trip, and even his win in the Belmont Derby wasn't bad at all. He was the kind of horse, he was going under the radar in the mid-season form against those 3-year-olds. His American Turf, he upset it at 47-1, won the Rushway very nicely. He had a very good third against some very tough horses in that 10 mile. His only subpar race came in the City of Hope mile where he was very wide, never getting into it. And then I thought they took him a little bit too quick back from that race and when they ran him in the Byron Station on this turf course in the fall. I just thought you saw a flat horse. I like that he's getting his time between races to start off the 4-year-old campaign. Watch out for him here at H1. And even the one horse here, integration for Frankie and Shug McGahee, won 2 back in the Red Smith over the longer trip at Aqueduct quite nicely. And his place in the Pegasus wasn't bad at all, where he nearly caught Spirit of St. Louis. If it wasn't drifting late, he would have really made the race interesting late. But coming here at 3-1, let's use him in the late pick 4. But to recount my selection now for the ninth from Keeneland, it is the Grade 1 $650,000 Maker's Mark mile. I'm going to take the 6-horse Carl Spackler. Give kudos to the 3-horse Chikari and the 1-horse integration. 6318 Super, 631 in the multi race. So good luck to him. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5. Good luck, everybody.